This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting out your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. All right, Dalton, this is the game that everybody has been waiting for us to preview. This is it. The biggest game of the week. The most on the line here.
The Draft Scout game of the week.
The New York Giants at the Las Vegas Raiders. Currently picking number 1 and number 2 overall in the draft order. And this is huge. There's no doubt about it. Because the quarterback class could be real thin. Right now, I would tell you that Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner from Indiana, I think he is going to be in this class. Outside of him, I do not know. I don't think there's a guarantee that Dante Moore from Oregon is going to be in this class. I don't think there's a guarantee that Alabama's quarterback Ty Simpson is going to be in this class. And if there's one quarterback that people think is going to save their franchise, oh my Lord, how valuable is that for the New York Giants if they get to sit at number 1 and they get to trade back from number 1, as opposed to the Raiders, who desperately would want this player and would want to be picking number 1 because they don't want to have to trade up to get to number 1.
And the Raiders are in a weird situation to me because you have this game, which feels like a 50-50 game, and then Week 18 they play Kansas City at home. And that's obviously not a great situation there either. The Raiders, can you imagine if they won both of these games?
Hopefully Walt's not still in the chat because he's not going to be happy about hearing that.
I'm just saying. It's not.
You're talking to me about the Raiders. What are they doing on offense
look
in
at
this
them.
game?
They're favored, Trevor.
I see that.
Man.
I think they were just going to favor whoever the home team was.
Yeah, that's probably true, too.
1.5 is basically like what you get for being at home anyways.
Well, to me, the guy you look at for the Raiders and the guy who had the huge game against the Texans in that close loss this past week is Ashton Jeanty, the rookie running back, the 6th overall pick. And he and Brock Bowers are basically the centerpieces of this offense. And despite the fact that the offensive line has really struggled this year, Jeanty had a huge game the other day against Houston, 188 total yards, 60-yard touchdown as a receiver. You see a 10 missed tackles forced as a rusher there, 11 in total for the game. And I think you just look at Jeanty and the opportunity he has to maybe, if they can block at all, have another big game here. 74.8 rushing grade this year, over 700 yards after contact, and I believe it's 75 total missed tackles forced as a runner and as a receiver combined. The only two players with more. Bijan Robinson has 95, which is just ridiculous, and Jahmyr Gibbs has one more than Jeanty with 76, which that's a Bijan's stat if I ever heard one. That's just ridiculous. But you look at Jeanty and you look at the opportunity he has to have another big game against a Giants team that, for whatever reason, between their D-line underperforming and their linebackers just really struggling this season, the Giants are dead last in the league in run defense grade. It's been a huge...
I cannot believe that,
It makes almost no sense how poorly this Giants front seven especially has played with all of the defensive line talent that they have. And, a guy like Abdul Carter has been really solid as a pass rusher, struggled as a rookie in the run game.
Right.
Okay, that's one thing, but you still have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence on the inside, and it just has not worked. So if the Raiders are going to win this game, I really think Ashton Jeanty is going to be front and center of it.
He has to be. And I think Jackson Dart has to be on the other side, right? I think that's the obvious. But when you look at Jackson Dart, there were some games when he first came in as a quarterback where he graded really highly. I think the rushing game certainly goes into him grading really well. But specifically, he was having a handful of games where, yeah, the turnover-worthy plays were there, but there were a lot of big-time throws as well. And then he kind of started to have a little bit of a stretch where he wasn't putting the ball in harm's way and was like, okay, all right, he's limited in the turnover-worthy plays. Now, over the last 4 games that he has started, he's had at least one turnover-worthy play in all of them. And when I say at least one, there was one game where he had 1, there were 2 games where he had 2, and there was 1 game where he had 3 even turnover-worthy plays here. We know how bad that they struggled last week, 33 total passing yards there in that game. The offense just looks broken, and to be honest with you, this looks like a completely unmotivated football team. It really does. I feel like I should just take whoever you don't take in this game. Are you taking the Raiders? Who are you taking?
I have no idea who's going to win this. Really, I should probably call a tie, which would be the most fun outcome out of all of it. If there was any game to call a tie, it would be this one. But I'm going to say Ginty carries the Raiders to a win, 23-21.
I guess I'll take the Giants then. I guess. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Sure.
I don't know if you saw it. I think this was from Colin Cowherd earlier this week. From what I read, I didn't love the entire logic of how he got to this conclusion, but I think it's an interesting conversation to have. If the Giants get the number 1 overall pick, do you try to trade Dart and take Mendoza at 1? I like Mendoza. While you think about it, I like Mendoza as a prospect more than I like Dart. I was lower on Dart than I feel like most people were.
Agreed.
I felt as though he had sort of like a big player bust type of an approach and mentality to the game that I think gets you in trouble a lot. I think he had good athletic ability, but now unfortunately we're sitting here like, okay, well, is the best case scenario for Jackson Dart going to be Baker Mayfield and the player that he is? And we're knowing that like these are the struggles that Baker Mayfield has, where he's always going to be this guy who's like, yeah, he has the big time throws, but he kind of has the turnover worthy plays too. When it looks good, it looks great. You love rooting for him. He's got that rushing ability to him, but he has so many concussions this year as well that now go into what is he going to be next year and the long-term outlook of his NFL career. Because I think that whoever comes in as the head coach is going to look at Dart and say, hey, man, we want you as part of the rushing game, but you're not going to be like a big part of the rushing game like you were when you were bashing heads with Cam Scatterbo when you first were the starter here. Like, that's got to be different. So you're going to take the rushing element a little bit out of what he does, and maybe you say that, again, Baker Mayfield is sort of who he is at the ceiling of like what you could hope that Jackson Dart is. Obviously, the worst case scenario is that he's too much of a turnover-worthy play guy and he fizzles out of the league quicker. Are you okay with betting on that player? And when I say betting on it, I mean if they have the number 1 overall pick, you have the ability to pick Fernando Mendoza here. I think that independently...
There's a ton of factors that go into this. Number one, with the Giants still being as bad as they are and certainly not making the progress on defense they wanted to make this year. Your best argument for it is there's constant chatter about the rookie quarterback clock, right? With the contract and the financial advantage that gives you, because with the state of their team, I'm unless they make a lot of additions that make their defense especially a lot better and their offensive line too, I'm not picking the Giants to make the playoffs next year, right? So I mean anything's possible. The league is weird, but their defense can't make the playoffs with their defense playing like this. And to me, the right side of their offensive line still needs a lot of work.
Okay, I agree with you, but at the same time, I think that you got to go through this coaching search, realizing this roster is far underplaying what they should.
So,
dude, they still have Paulson Adebo. They still have. I don't know why he was the first name that I thought of. They still have Dexter Lawrence. They still have Brian Burns. They still have Kayvon Thibodeau. You have Abdul Carter. You have, like I mentioned, Paulson Adebo. You have Drew Phillips. You have Javon Holland. You have Tyler Nubin. I know some people are going to be like, oh, Tyler Nubin's that good. If I got that many names into it before we're like, hey, this is a player that maybe isn't very good, yeah, you got to fix the spot where Deonte Banks is at corner. Yeah, maybe you can get a little bit more out of linebacker, although linebacker, they've been a little bit beat up. You got Malik Neighbors coming back. You got Cam Scatterbo coming back. The offensive line's got to be a little bit better. But if you bring back Jermaine Illuminor, who's been okay this season, you have Andrew Thomas. Hopefully you get a little bit better in the offensive line. You just raise the ceiling. I kind of disagree with you there.
I mean,
the person who takes this job shouldn't be looking at this job as like a 2-3 year rebuild. You've got players on the roster. They're just unmotivated and poorly coached right now.
Yes, which is where, I mean, if you're taking the biggest example of what you're talking about, really, it's the Chicago Bears and what they're doing. But it does come down to you'd have to can you make a Grand Slam Ben Johnson level hire, right? Because obviously
you need a good coach. You need somebody to nail.
So I think there's a handful of factors in this. One, it's not going to happen because Joe Shane drafted Jackson Dart and he's not going to bail on him. He's not going to do it.
Fair.
Two, you mentioned it does matter how much you value somebody, if it's Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore, especially if you're picking first. I mean, I think you do the due diligence of watching those guys and figuring out how good they can be. But are they that much better than Dart? Whereas you're going to cause yourself this much aggravation and essentially put your job on the line with a trade like that. And the other thing is, what is fair value and what are you going to get for Jackson Dart?
That's where I think the argument maybe loses me the most, because I don't think you don't get a first round pick.
Are the Pittsburgh Steelers giving you a first round pick for Jackson Dart?
I don't think so. I think the best you'll get is a second rounder.
At that point,
especially because of the injuries.
At that point, is it really worth the upheaval and then even the intangible part of this Giants team? Despite all their struggles, they've really bought in on Jackson Dart as the leader of the team. Mm-hmm. Do you really want to reset that?
No,
and possibly piss a lot of people off in the locker room? Listen, when you have a year like this, there's a lot of guys that are going to be gone anyway. But do you really want to piss off the core of the team by getting rid of a quarterback, the one guy who made them believe in anything this season?
Sure, I think that's fair. But at the same time, like, if you piss off the roster and then you start winning a lot with Mendoza, they're going to forget real quick.
Because this is not trading Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford. You know, when you're talking about a guy who everybody goes, wow, that's the future Hall of Famer. We got Matthew. This is ditching one kid for one that you don't. And your football team needs to improve a lot around it anyway, and you don't know what the coaching situation is.
I don't know. I think that it's an interesting conversation, and I hadn't really thought of it before. There's also so much value to...
There have been conversations about things like this later in the rookie deal. There was even an...
the Cardinals did it with Rosen. They picked Rosen 10th overall, and then they drafted Kyler at 1 the next year.
Yes, but Rosen was just awful. I mean, Dart
passed for 33 yards last week.
Yes,
I'm not saying. I'm
pretty sure Rosen passed for 33 yards every week.
But I'm saying the conversation is worth having.
I think it would be more likely to be had if this was after Dart's second or third year. This conversation was kind of sort of had with Brock Purdy for a minute, where it's like, is it worth paying this guy $50 to $60 million? Now, this is earlier in the clock. We're 1 year in. It's not going to happen. Joe Shane is still there. Jackson Dart is his quarterback. It's just not going to happen. And I don't think they would get some significant enough trade value that they're going to do it and reset again. Because that's still, despite Jackson Dart not being great this year, he's shown flashes, you're still putting this team, this franchise, through another reset. They're not doing it. I get the argument.
I don't know if it's a reset if you think the quarterback's good, though. Right?
Kind of.
Maybe.
I mean, you did mention a good number of veterans in that list of players you mentioned too, and there's only so much of a window. NFL rosters turn over quick, man. And they got
but that's why you gotta.
They still need to draft well on the O-line at corner. They need one more receiver. They got to figure out what the hell's wrong with this defensive line.
I think it's much more likely that they would trade down from number one, acquire assets that are not only in 2026 but also in 2027, and feel like, okay, we're giving Jackson Dart a full another year to figure it out, try to stay healthy, play really well, and go for quarterback in 2027. I think that that's the most likely path that we will get here. I do think that it's worth the conversation. By the way, I just looked it up because I just wanted to know because I thought it would be funny. 87 passing yards is the lowest that Josh Rosen ever had.
Okay.
87.
Oh, okay.
87.
Well,
hey, it's 54 more yards.
It is. It's good math.
Anyways, you took the Raiders.
Yes.
I'll take the Giants. It's fine. Eagles and the Bills, Sunday afternoon game.
You're going to trade the man right after a win. Jeez.
No, I'm only taking them because I have to.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't feel good about any of this.
You're scratching and clawing.
I wouldn't feel good about any of this.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok gurus sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff. Because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.